When the whole family comes together to watch the game, nobody wants to miss a second of the action to run to the grocery store. With Instacart, you can get all your weekly groceries in as fast as an hour. Less time shopping means more game time. Let's go. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
Hey, Commanders fans. Headed to the game December 31st? Take Metro for just $2, then join us for some tailgating fun. We'll have live bands, games, and giveaways galore. Plus, if you switch to mobile wallet there, you'll be entered for a chance to win a special raffle. Find us at the Morgan Boulevard Station or in Lot G at FedEx Field between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. Skip the traffic, skip the parking. Take Metro to the game December 31st. Learn more at WMATA.com.
Here is Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com publisher for a long time journalist. Fitz, welcome. How are you?
I am wonderful. How is the Lutz gang?
Well, we're doing okay. We got Thunder hockey legend Jason Duda with us
Big
today.
deal.
I know that embarrasses him.
Nice.
So we're going to hit you with the...
Yeah, they're still annoying as ever, so they're fine.
So K-State comes through in the Pop Tarts Bowl. Have you ever seen a marketing scheme turn out so brilliantly that we saw last night with Pop Tarts?
I hate bowls named after advertisers, but this one was a home run. This was brilliant. They put so much thought into this. I laughed so hard when that mascot lowered into the toaster with this sign, "Dreams do come true." I mean, they could have just lowered him down, but someone said, what if he holds the sign? They thought of everything here, and then out spits the cooked Pop-Tart for them to eat. The edible mascot wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be, but they pulled all this off. It was incredible.
So I'm going to let Jason ask about his Mays guy, Avery Johnson. I wanted to know, beyond Avery Johnson, who did you see last night look like they became a potentially big part of Kansas State's future?
Well, I'm really encouraged about a number of guys. First of all, DJ Giddens just seems to get better and better. Because that was one of the best defenses in the country. Now, granted, they were missing their top player on that defensive side of the ball. But, without Peyton Wilson, they still had good guys out there, and he just ran right through the middle of them. I was really impressed with him. Chase Brown just continues to get better and better as another true freshman. On that defensive side, look, they weren't perfect, but they held an offense that's put up some points this year to 19. And that hit on VJ Payne delivered on the 2-point conversion. A true sophomore was impactful of the game. I think it just changed the entire momentum. And then once K-State scored, stopping them, it now turned it into a 2-score game. So I thought he was great. There were so many guys that stood out, and a lot of them were Kansas kids, and that says an awful lot. There were just so many good players on the field for K-State. It was impressive.
And, of course, as Jeff said, obviously my kids go to Mays, so watched Avery Johnson the last couple of years in high school. What's his ceiling? We passed around the horn here whether we thought that he would be in the Heisman conversation at some point in his career. We all said yes. What are your thoughts, and what's the outlook, and what do people say up there about Avery Johnson?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, the obvious nature of his game, that ceiling that is hard for even football people to measure. The absurdity of saying this true freshman is going to be in the Heisman running when we're just now seeing him. But then when I hear outsiders talk about Avery, people that aren't connected to the program, and they watch a little bit of him, they're like, oh, this kid's special. And what makes Avery special isn't just those athletic traits that he has and the amount of work he's put in to become a really good passer, and the speed he maintains, the conditioning he stays in, he goes about his business. What really makes him amazing is he's a true freshman able to lead a college football team. And not just because he's the quarterback, but because guys in that locker room, often guys that are like 4 or 5 years older than the kid, believe in him. because he's so calm, so intelligent. He's just an adult in any room in which he walks in, and one of the more mature people, and that's what really impresses me about Avery.
Tim Fitzgerald with us from GoPowerCat.com, and they held him back last night. They didn't want him running a whole lot because they don't have their backup quarterback situation's a little bit unclear. So he threw a lot of balls away, which affected his line on plays that I think he would have run had he had his druthers. So that element of his game really didn't come through other than on the touchdown run last night.
No, they did. They were cautious with him for exactly the reason you said. I mean, Jacob Knuth was available to be a backup, but that kid's been running the scout team all year. As you know, originally he had to sit out, and then they were able to give him a scholarship, and he could play in the bowl game. But he didn't know the offense that well. He'd been in, the scout team prepares with the other team's offense, so he just wasn't up to speed. They really needed to keep him healthy, and they did hold him back quite a bit. And you're right, there were some scrambles there where he tucks the ball and runs in a different situation, but he was so selective in how he passed, and he threw away some balls where, he could have tucked it downfield and maybe got a big reception, but he also might have had an interception. You look at what happened to the true freshman quarterback for Oklahoma. He just melted down with interceptions. But K-State was very careful to not put him in situations where he was going to throw the ball into peril that often. And then when he rolled out, he knew exactly, okay, this is second down. We can pick it up on third, or this drive ain't working. It's third down. Let's get out of this as a punt. And I'm telling you what, the maturity of a quarterback to make the decision, drive failed, we're going to punt in a split second of throwing the ball away is a mature, tough decision for a quarterback. And he did it last night. That was a very impressive part of his game.
So we argued a lot, actually, about KU earlier this week and how they might be seen going into next season. Their season ended with a guy making his last start. K-State season ended with a guy making his first start. Obviously, KU has Jalen Daniels, if healthy. Who do you think is in a better position? Both 9-win teams. But who do you think, and I know there's a lot to unravel still, who's in a better position going into next year?
Well, if Daniels can stay healthy, KU's in a really good position. But now it comes down to how do you, plug your holes and fix them. And, as I heard someone say last night, now like being in an NFL program, every year you're kind of reinventing your roster with the transfer portal, whether you're putting guys in or getting guys out. It changes things dramatically. But K-State returns a lot of nice pieces. I saw someone tweet that, next year's Big 12 title game will be West Virginia and Arizona. And I'm like, well, 2 Kansas schools will have something to say about that. And there's other good schools, including Utah and, some other in this conference. I think Iowa State might be pretty good. This conference is going to be an absolute blast next year and a bloodbath week to week. It's what Big 12 football has been, and it's just only going to get more that way with the new additions.
I couldn't agree more. It's going to be so interesting to see how this all shakes out, because when the move of Oklahoma and Texas was announced, people presumed that would kind of be the end of the power days of Big 12 football. But here's Arizona making a push. It looks to me like K-State, and I'm just saying it, I think KU is making a strong push. I think the K-State KU football thing is going to be dynamic for a while.
I agree. Now, getting that next quarterback after Jalen Daniels, that's the thing is everyone gets that quarterback. K-State had Michael Bishop, and along came Jonathan Beasley to kind of carry it on, and it ended up with Al Roberson. And he carried it on until they kind of ran out of guys. And so you just got to perpetuate that dynamic quarterback room and continue to build it. And I think K-State's in a really good situation because they got Avery for 2-3 more years, and this Blake Barnett kid they signed out of Colorado is the same type of player, maybe more big and physical, but he's going to slide right in when they need him. So it's going to be fun for a long time in this rivalry.
So I want to just switch to basketball real quick. I can't say I've paid a ton of attention to college basketball outside of Wichita State, but I did see that K-State in Joe Lenardi's latest bracketology, I think he had them as last team in or somewhere in that range. Is that generally where you think K-State would be hanging out most of the year? Do you think they can improve their lot, or is that just kind of what they are perhaps?
Yeah, I think that might be a little optimistic based on how the team's played as of late. But they get back Wes Glover, who injured himself in the exhibition game, so he hasn't played a regular season game yet. And he's going to give them a little bit more speed at the guard position, a little more explosion there in terms of ball handling and breaking down defenses. So he'll be back for Tuesday's game against Chicago State. I'm intrigued to see where he's at. I don't expect him to be that sharp coming off a knee injury in the middle of the season, but he could be a valuable addition. But again, Big 12 basketball, I mean, we talk about football, but basketball's a bloodbath at the highest levels. I mean, you got teams all over this conference already, let alone next year with the addition of Arizona, that can win a national title, that can be Final Four quality. So if you come out of that with a 500 record in league play, you're a pretty damn good team. And I think that's what K-State's hoping to do this year, because the loss of Naquan Tomlin just simply is irreplaceable.
Open with UCF, Central Florida, a week from tomorrow. Then they have West Virginia and Texas Tech road games. I suppose you'd look at those as all three being winnable games for the Cats, so we'll see. Fitz, it was fun to watch K-State football last night. They end the season with a win over North Carolina State. And 2024, as we've talked about here, is going to be about as interesting as you could possibly imagine. Will K-State and KU both be ranked in the top 25 preseason poll prediction?
I think so. That's a great point. And here's another interesting point. You know, when KU got really good under Coach Mangino, K-State wasn't very good under Ron Prince. So having both of these programs rising up at the same time and, you know, going to be at the top of this conference, that's kind of unheard of in the history of these two programs. They were either both bad or one was good and the other was bad. I don't know that there's been many times in history, maybe 95, when both teams were pretty good, and next year is going to be one of them, and this year was certainly one of them.
Always appreciate you. Thanks for everything, and have a very happy New Year, and we'll talk to you in 2024.
Same to you, boys. Great to hear from you.
When the whole family comes together to watch the game, nobody wants to miss a second of the action to run to the grocery store. With Instacart, you can get all your weekly groceries in as fast as an hour. Less time shopping means more game time. Let's go. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.